and welcome back to Arizona State University. Just going to have a little roundtable session here and talk about our program and the Academy Drum and Bugle Corps and the innovations with Jupiter band instruments and Mapex percussion and innovation with Zildjian cymbals. And I'd like to thank Adam Wheems from Zildjian and Brian Duffy from Jupiter and our good friend Mark Richardson from the Academy for being with us today. I'd like to thank Zildjian for your help with our program, and for Jupiter for your help with not only our program but the Academy's program. Just some really exciting things going on, I think, as far as just innovation with instruments. And let's just dive in and talk about the Jupiter thing right away. You know, the Mapex percussion line, and then the quantum development, and where we're going with that. I was fortunate to hook up with Tabor Stamper from Jupiter long ago, longer ago than either one of us want to admit to. You know, and just the how great the development is. It's really fun to be on that product development side. So why don't we talk a little bit about just the whole product, where we're going, and just, you know, the quantum series and then the Mapex percussion stuff, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. So the whole quantum ideas that we're trying, they are developing instruments across the board for horns and percussion with the main idea and concept of developing an instrument that has great tone and that blends and balances well together within sections, within a horn line, within the battery and frontline percussion, and together as a full ensemble. The Mapex side of it, the marching percussion, the battery stuff, really started with an idea of Chris Hankis, who's developing many of these instruments. Heard the Mapex drum set called the Saturn Series. Saturn Series is a wonderful drum set, and it has a unique combination of plies. The plies are maple and walnut, and he just loved the beautiful tone it gave, the projection it provided, and the warmth it provided. So he started bringing that to the plies of the Mapex drums. So they started out by sending some drums to ASU that field tested right away, and they originally had this combination of maple and walnut amongst the whole battery, snares, quads, tenors, and basses. And so they field tested, tried some things, and they learned some things, and they kind of went back and re-EQ'd the whole concept. So what they found was, by keeping the walnut shells with the bass drums was a bit too muddy, it was too much tone. So they keep those all maple, which provides great tone, great projection, but still enough dryness so you can read it well. The tenors keep that 4-ply exterior of maple, 2-ply interior of walnut, which provides a lot of warmth and projection. I know the ASU people have said that they can hear all 6 tenors from the very top box, which is a really unique thing, that they can get those variations in pitches and that they all project all the way up top. The snare is 4-ply walnut, 4-ply maple, 2-ply birch. That birch helps provide a little more of the articulation that you want from your snares, and help providing some depth and bottom when you're doing your rim shots and such things. So that was one of the huge differences there, was the plies that they're using, the tones they're getting, and providing a real ensemble balance. By keeping maple as a part of every ply, you're getting a real balanced tone between the instruments, so when you play them together you have that blended kind of sound. A couple other new things that are really interesting are the hoops on the bass drums. They're aluminum hoops, they're internally chambered. What that does is, one is the durability factor, is you don't need rim savers. They're very durable, you can play them and you don't have any kind of worrying about breaking rims or anything like that. But they also are flexible, so that you can tune your drums, and they'll go with the flex tuning. When you tune your drums, they'll go with it, which helps a lot. The other major thing on the bass drums is the venting. They have an incredible number of vents on the drums, the low ones in particular. And what that does is, if anyone's played percussion knows, if you have a big drum and it's lower pitched, obviously it's bigger and lower, when you hit that drum, you get a lot of response. The head moves a lot because it's so loose. And it's hard to play rhythmical things clean. One, just get the articulation, but two, the feel, the rebound you get off that head is very different, and not a clean one like you would off something with greater tension. So by putting in the air vent holes, it lowers that fundamental pitch of the drum. So now when you want to get that pitch you want on your bottom drum, you got to take it up higher. Higher head means more tension, tighter head, and now you can play those articulated passages easier with terms of feel. You're not getting all that back head response when you bring your mallet up to the head, and that gets a greater articulation. As well as the vents just clear out the air. They just clear it out, so when you start over again, it takes away that as well. So those are two major things in the bass drums. The tenors was the ply, of course, which was one of the huge things, but also the bearing edge up top. Instead of metal, they're keeping it a walnut bearing edge, so when you use your high tension, you're not popping head, you still have that support, and you're keeping the shell round, but yet you're keeping the resonance going by keeping it walnut in a wood bearing edge there, as opposed to something metal. So that's the major things there. And then the snare drum, a couple real interesting things is the bottom head, they have a deeper snare bed, so you know what your snares are really going to get uptight with that head, and you're going to get greater snare response from that. And then they have the lug casings coming down are actually connected to the shell on the bottom, and what they're finding is that by playing that top head, lots of the vibrations are going through the lug casing on down and getting lots of great snare response from the bottom. So those are just some of the things going on. They have new harnesses as well. They're working with XL Specialty. Those are now out and available. Very interesting ability to adjust any which way you want to go with your harness. So for different body types for students, different philosophies of how you want to have your drums and how you have them set up, you have all those options. So those are all available and out. On the mallet side, they've developed a lot of new keyboards. Majestic is a company, it's the oldest percussion maker in Holland. So they've been making drums for many years. It's just a new name for us here in the United States. So they've developed vibraphones, marimbas, obviously working on extremely hard on developing exceptional tuning. The marimbas have a new synthetic material that's really warm, provides lots of warmth to the sound, closer to the rosewood feel that you're trying to get there out in the field, while still getting the projection you want. The vibraphone has a new alloy that's been adjusted that, again, is providing that warmth but projection. So when you're up top in the box, you hear those vibraphones coming up. And probably the biggest thing is the frame design. The fact that, one, the pneumatic tires, pneumatic height adjustment. Anybody who's height adjusted a marimba knows you want the pneumatic much easier and slicker. And also just all the different ways you can mount materials and items onto your keyboard. Whether it be miking, there's a post for amps, because obviously miking is a huge part of the activity these days, or all the way around 4 ways of the box, so to speak. You can mount on your different instruments and different things you want there. And many multi-clamps, any drum set, standard drum set clamp will work for mounting materials on there. So just lots of great things there on the keyboard side. And if you look at timpani, Majestic has made timpani, like I said, for many, many years. So you throw that in there and you've got a really great all-around product that is going with the same concept of great tone on an instrument that blends and balances well.
But the height adjustments there too, right? So you don't have to put the blocks under the wheels like they used to.
Exactly. Yep, it's that pneumatic height adjustment. So yeah, you can find that proper height adjustment, no blocks. Exactly.
From kid to kid, from junior high kids all the way through college kids, right?
Absolutely. Yep. So if you've got that middle school girl who seems really tall, she's a middle school, but then you got the boy who's very short at that point, you got all that height adjustment you want to do there. Absolutely. Cool. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the quantum horns themselves just a little bit. The brass series, anything special about those that you want to point out?
Yeah, there's been a lot of development there. Some leading people have really developed the horns, working together again to develop that quality of tone and blend and balance. Some leading names have developed these horns. Maybe you guys can speak more to those and how you've enjoyed them, maybe using them with Academy or ASU once you found in those instruments.
Yeah, I was really fortunate to be a part of the 2008 inaugural season for the Quantum Marching Line, and with the affiliation with Arizona State, I got the opportunity to watch both Patrick Sheridan and Sam Palafian, who are kind of some of the leaders in developing these new brass instruments. And the thing that impressed me most, and really which kind of pushed our organization towards entering into an agreement, a long-term agreement with them, is just being able to see the interest in getting the product right. For one, like you said, with the percussion instruments, the idea of a family kind of instrument, the well-blended and matched sounds, certainly that was the approach with the brass section as well. When you hear the horn line play on all the Quantum instruments, it's really a family sound, more so than we've ever heard before. The designers of these instruments did not take the trumpet and design a trumpet and design a mellophone separate with separate ideas in mind. They started with one instrument, the euphonium, actually, and built from there. And so the extension of the entire brass family, from the trumpet all the way down to the tuba, is really one of a family sound. And the other thing that really impressed me too was I got the opportunity over the course of the last year and a half or two to watch how many times they went back to the drawing board about, well, we need to fix this thing, we need to fix this little piece, and how concerned they were with really getting it right. And it's not just that while the product is fantastic right now, the interest is and the philosophy is, well, it's never going to be right, so we're always going to make it better. We're always going to find something, a new way to tweak it, a new way to make the product better, so that for me as an educator and a promoter of these instruments, I feel comfortable telling people that this is a product that you should purchase, that you should spend the time at putting in your students' hands. I feel comfortable endorsing these instruments. Jim, you probably have some experience personally with the woodwind side of things as well.
Well, the euphonium itself, I'm really impressed about the throw of that horn. You know, it's a big horn, and even our two girls that are playing in that section don't really have a problem with the weight, just because of the balance of the instrument. And the brass instruments, all the marching brass, is really well done that way. But I also think the concert horns are done that way too. I'm really impressed with the saxophone that we use, and the intermediate clarinet that we use is a great outdoor clarinet. And in Arizona, I call this the desert proving grounds. You know, so in Arizona we had to pick an instrument that's going to be a little bit weather sensitive, because it's like rehearsing in a blast furnace. So we've had some real success with those instruments, I think, just as far as surviving the outdoor rigors of Arizona. And I know the Academy, when you're rehearsing, it's like really hot too. The thing that really impresses me about the Jupiter side of thing is I know I can pick up the phone and just say, hey, this isn't working, or I can just pick up the phone and say, hey, we need parts to this. And we as the Quantum line was being developed, we got to work with Don Sade a lot, just making sure that things, when they were delivered to us, was really right, and then just the service after the sale thing, I think, is really good. So as a director of a major university marching band, that now is hit time for us to know that I can pick up the phone and call my friends down in Austin and say, hey, we're having a problem. That's really good, and I'm sure that maybe you had the same experience, Mark. When things aren't right, they make them right, So, and that's really great. Well, let's talk about Zildjian for a minute, and just the great sounds. The thing that really impresses me a lot about Zildjian is just the variety of sounds, the same service after the sale, and just the interest in the marching arts that your company has. As long as I've been affiliated with Zildjian, that's been a very impressive thing for me. So why don't we talk a little bit about the new things that maybe be going on with Zildjian, or some of the things you have on the plate?
Well, first I would like to start off by thanking Arizona State and the Academy. This was the first year that Academy was officially on board with Zildjian this summer, and again, very proud to have you on board, and it was a great season, so thank you for that. This is our third official season with the Arizona State Marching Band, and thank you guys. You guys all represent us very well, and we're very appreciative for everything that you do. And what's very interesting about both of the Academy and Arizona State is they use everything that the Zildjian company makes. which is one of the cool things about working for the Zildjian Cymbal Company, because we really can affect and do almost more things than most people, because you can use our products not only in your marching band, in your cymbal line, but on the field and in your pit percussion. But then you can take it and you can put it in your jazz band or your orchestra or your wind ensemble or your pep band. So we really have the opportunity to affect music education as a whole in many different ways. And we make all the different types of sounds to be able to do that. You can just take, for instance, the 2 cymbal lines that we have. The Academy this year used a little bit more of an orchestral cymbal on the field for, I think you had 6 cymbal players, and because of the music that they were doing, they decided to use more of an orchestral style cymbal because it matched what was being done by the corps. Now for Arizona this year, we're going to go to what we call the Stadium Series, and that really is the quintessential outdoor cymbal. These guys are playing with a band of close to 300 students. You're playing in front of 80 to 90 to 100,000 people in a stadium every weekend, and you need a cymbal that's going to cut from the field all the way to the top of the box. So the stadium cymbal was really developed with a lot of drum corps people back in the day, helping us figure out how can we get a cymbal that's truly going to project and sustain the beating that it takes from being in a marching thing. So really the Stadium Series, and that's where we're going to go this year with the Arizona group, and they're going to be using what is relatively the newest member of the Stadium Series, the 19-inch medium heavies. Now what I found with those, and the reason why we came up with those, was because they're not as big as the 20s, so they're a little bit easier to get around, and in some cases there are smaller people that are using or marching in the cymbal line. So the 19s are going to be a little bit lighter, but a little bit easier to maneuver for visuals and things like that. But as we were testing them with other universities and other drum corps in large stadiums, we found that the projection on those was as good as, or in some cases better than, a 20. So by doing that, what we've been able to do here is decrease the weight a little bit, decrease the size a little bit, give the kids a little bit more energy all day to keep doing what they're doing, but yet you're still getting the sound projecting all the way to the top of the stadium. So I think that that's really been a nice innovation and something that we've added to the line, which was great. When you move up into the front side, into the pit, the nice thing about that is anything that Zildjian makes can be used in a front ensemble. Everybody divides everything into drum set and band and orchestral stuff, but really at the end of the day, I think the marching arts uses everything that we make. You have guys that are using Constantinople ride cymbals as suspended cymbals because that's the sound that they're looking for, because that's the way it is. Cymbals, I want to make sure that band directors remember this. A lot of you maybe have had 15 minutes of a percussion techniques class somewhere once. Cymbals are a musical instrument, and depending on what music you're playing, there is a sound out there that is developed to help you do that. You're not going to use a stadium cymbal in your jazz band, but you may want to use a stadium cymbal outdoors, or if you're playing with a huge concert band and you're doing a grandiose march, maybe you will use a stadium to project over a large concert band. But in the same sense, you may be playing a jazz tune for your marching band, and you're going to want that Constantinople or that K sound that's a little darker, a little smoother. So I think what we've really conscientiously done is try to develop enough sounds that not only the most, top-notch jazz guy is going to go for, or orchestral guy is going to go for, but we've brought in the marching arts people and said, what do you need? And I think one of the newest innovations or things, the way that we're looking to go, is more towards sound effects. I don't remember if Academy this summer used it, but we have the new spiral cymbal. That's been out for about 1.5 years now, and it literally is a cymbal that we took and cut in a spiral so it hangs down. And what that gives us is a very nice washy, wavy sound, but it also looks cool because the marching arts are as much visual as they are auditory. We've also come out with the EFX cymbal, which is a cymbal that's got holes in it that, again, it's more produced with white noise. So again, a great impact cymbal depending on where you are. And you can take cymbals and put them on top of each other and do things to get different effects. So I really think that as we move forward a little bit, outside of our mad doctors always working on new innovative products for the drum set side of things, you're going to see us try to work more into the effect side. as well, and we're going to see some of that. Now, one of the also newer innovations that we just came out, which I think could be fun for pep bands and things like that, is the Pitch Black series, and it's a series of cymbals that we basically coated black, and they look a little bit different than most Zildjian cymbals because they are black. The logo on them is a little different, but it's still got the regular white Zildjian on it. But they're really made for rock and roll and loud playing and that. And for a basketball team like ASU, who again has a big stadium and is always playing, they're going to project through that crowd, and they look cool. And that's why drummers became drummers, because we all wanted to look cool.
Absolutely.
So again, there's just a lot of things, and there's a lot of ranges of stuff that we can do. And I encourage band directors and percussion instructors and even students, as you're growing and trying to do more things, try a little bit of everything. I like to say autograph your own sound, because you can really develop your own sound with all of the different lines that we have.
Is there a website or anything that the directors could go to?
Absolutely. Outside of banddirector.com, please go to the Zildjian website at zildjian.com. We have sound files from every cymbal that we make. We're also starting to develop more video out there that we're going to have that'll teach you a little bit more about cymbals, how we make cymbals, how to play cymbals, how to teach cymbals. As I spoke about in the cymbal line clinic, we did some videoing of the Santa Clara Vanguard cymbal line a couple summers ago to teach some basic crashes. So I encourage the band director and your students to go out and look at that stuff so they can really start to get an idea of how to integrate themselves more into the program.
And just like you did in that cymbal clinic, I think field cymbals is kind of an art form, don't you? It's just something that's sometimes just often neglected but could be really cool.
I think I totally agree with you, and I think it's a little bit neglected sometimes because people are a little bit scared about, oh my God, I don't know how to do that. Well, a lot of it, I'll tell you what, your kids are so receptive to it. If you give them this much knowledge, they'll take it and run with it farther than you'd ever imagine, and they're going to become proud of what they do, and it's going to add another element of sound onto the field. It's going to add another element of visual on the field. You can take your cymbal line and make them do things just like your color guard, except that they're playing cymbals at the same time. And really, that adds such a nice visual presence to the field, and also to your indoor drum line for those that are participating in the indoor marching arts. So really, it is an art form that's almost being lost, but it was nice because this year, with Academy moving up to world class, that brought another cymbal line back. The Madison Scouts brought a cymbal line back this year. So we're starting to see that with Jersey Surf, hopefully moving up next year, they have a cymbal line. So you're starting to see again what we'll call a rebirth of the cymbal line. And I really tell you, it's a great way to bring more students involved into your program, because you can't have 15 snare drums on the field in a high school program. It usually doesn't work, and 10 tenors and 12 bass drums. But it's a great way to get kids involved in your marching program and allow them to be involved, but then give them something new and try something new. So,
awesome. Well, thanks for your products and your help and your support of our program.
Absolutely, and again, thank you guys for everything that you've done for us.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. 15 plates on the field for us this fall.
and growing. Yeah. We started out with about 10.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting a set of those black cymbals for pep band.
I think we're going to have to do
That's
that.
right. Absolutely. Well, when I first got to Arizona State, one of the first persons I met was Mark Richardson, and I heard of the Academy Drum and Bugle Corps and your dreams of where you wanted to go, and I'm like, put me in, coach, so that we could have like a working collaboration, and we meet a lot and we dream a lot and we talk a lot, and so why don't you talk a little bit about the Academy and where you're going?
Well, we started back in 2001. Actually, I'm a third-generation band director here in Arizona. Actually, my grandfather moved to Arizona and taught in Arizona as well as my father. And myself being a third-generation band director, I have a lot of passion for educating the kids in music in the state of Arizona in particular. As a son of a band director, I became very affectionate for the activity of drum corps. We used to every summer go out and watch drum corps performances, drums along the Rockies in California and all over the country. And I always wanted to do it. Only into my age out year was the first time that I actually performed at a drum corps, and I absolutely fell in love. It was everything I dreamed it would be, and saw how Arizona was missing something of that kind of experience for its students. And so a few of the band boosters from the program that I was working with at that time said this is actually possible, and formed a board of directors and began developing a drum corps show. Brought back drum corps to Arizona after its absence of about 5 or 6 years. The people of Arizona didn't even know what drum corps was when we brought it back again. And started with a really small exhibition ensemble, brass and percussion ensemble is what we called it, about 60 kids. And 4 years later, we fielded the first drum corps in 2004. Called it the Academy, and here we are as a world-class drum bugle corps, sponsored by some amazing companies, developing an affiliation with the local university here in the city of Tempe, which is where we rehearse, and really trying to impact kids and educators. One of the major visions that I have, and I know Jim has, and certainly you heard from these folks here, from the companies, that we have a passion for music education and what it does for students. And I feel I have an obligation to give back to the city of Tempe and the state of Arizona in the activities that I do. And certainly as we develop relationships with the Arizona State University, we have a huge goal of developing teachers that will stay in Arizona and have great knowledge and great passion for educating kids and impacting their lives through music and the activities that are involved. Just as Jim mentioned, he was one of the first persons that I was one of the first persons that he met, and immediately we struck a chord in that we see a similar vision for what we can do, and we're sitting in a facility here that in part Jim was able to bring to the university. This is where the marching band is going to be able to rehearse when it's 110 degrees, and building a new band room in the future. Got a brand new outdoor practice field through Jupiter, and Fred J. Miller got brand new instruments and brand new uniforms through some support that a good friend of Jim's that he may mention later. So there's really some amazing things going on here at the university that I want to get involved with too. You know, there's a lot of great synergy between the two programs. There's a bunch of our kids from the drum corps see the growth that the university is having here, and they're hopping on board to be a part of it. I think there's 30 or 40 kids from the drum corps now that are in the marching band this year. And last year we officially coordinated the Winter Guard, one of our oldest programs, and competed in the open class last year, and we actually placed third overall in Winter Guard International Championships in Dayton, Ohio, and a lot of that was because of what Jim was able to bring to us in terms of equipment and staffing and a lot of leadership for our kids. So there's a lot of really great things going on in between for the Academy and as well as Arizona State University. Maybe you can talk a little bit more what's going on here on campus.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it's great not to be in 110 degrees. You know, that's a great thing. When I was hired at Arizona State by Lisa Love and Michael Crow and the School of Music here, it was kind of like a dream. You know, here we are in a major university, went through our first year together, and then I was called by the marketing office in athletics that there was a gentleman that wanted to visit with me, and so we had breakfast, and about an hour later he said, "Give me a list of what you need." And I said, "It's going to be a big list." And he said, "I was good. He's good for it. Give me the list." So he wrote us a check to buy new instruments and new equipment and new uniforms for the entire band. So every kid in the band has a Jupiter instrument or a Mapex instrument or a Majestic instrument. We're all wearing Fred J. Miller uniforms. We have Zildjian cymbals in our hands, and you know, it's a great thing. I keep telling our kids what a rare opportunity it is to basically start over, which is exactly what happened. And then I heard rumblings of an indoor practice facility for the marching band, and I'm like, and the football team, and I'm like, yeah, right. And then, you know, the ground wasn't even broke here in June, and now look, we've got an indoor facility and a brand new practice field for the marching band. So that's, you know, that's a great thing. Michael Crow's a wonderful president and a great boss, and Lisa Love is a great athletic director and a great woman. So, you know, to work with those kind of people on a daily basis is just a real home run. Michael Crow has been very generous with our program as far as a budget, and also started a scholarship incentive program for drum corps kids, and also a scholarship incentive program for all state kids that have great grades. So there'll be information about that on the band website, so that if you're interested, you can check that out. And if you're coming at Arizona State University, and especially if you're an out-of-state student, we can help you financially. And also in-state students, and also drum corps students. And it's a great thing that we have this working collaboration. Actually, you come out and play band with us in the fall, and I come out and play drum corps with you in the summer. And coming over here, Mark said, yeah, I really enjoy working with you in the fall because, you know, he's not in charge and I'm in charge. And I'm like, well, yeah, you know, that's the same thing for me, you know, not in charge in the summer. So it's a great thing. But again, fellas, thanks for being here. You know, thanks for Jupiter and Mapex and all you do, and thanks so much for Zildjian and all you do, and Dave Knox and banddirector.com. Thanks for this. It's been a great day. We've still got one more session yet, and to Fred J. Miller, many thanks for your great uniforms, and Michael Cesario, thanks for your design. So we'll be back with the color guard next. Thanks.